Hey guys, welcome back. Steve Areno's Cool Kits, Miscellaneous Stuff, Part 2. Boom. Talked before about the models, my models certainly being a product of my process. And then it occurred to me, they're also kind of a product of certainly like anybody, there's nothing amazing or scientific about what I'm going to say next, but they're a product of your work environment. I mean, how and you sort of work, where you work, and thought, well, let me, I don't know, maybe some of this stuff that I've got here that I sort of have around me when I work might be beneficial. I mean, I always enjoyed, coming up as an architect and engineer and a technologist, seeing, the laboratory, so to speak, the place where people came up with these really cool, creative ideas, and it's kind of the difference between the party that would be thrown by people who buy art versus, the people who produce art. It's almost like a Mad Magazine, those two different types of pictures. Right? It's just totally two different crowds. So, it's not sanitary when you make art, right? I mean, it's you're swinging wide, and you're so your workspace might be organized, but it also is what aesthetes might say they don't look too neat, but it's very functional. It gets it done. So let me kind of talk about a few things, and if it's not interesting to you, then there's other things to look at. Okay, surfing, thinking, convention hat out of the way. And incidentally, Mavericks is not up, surf's not up, so we're taking a little break from surfing. So
well, into the soup? Why not?
So we'll kind of use this time to talk about some things. So isn't modeling cool? I mean, I built regular full-size cars, and certainly the things that I learned in building, Mustangs and Corvettes and all that stuff. That when I'm talking about, the Good Guys Car Show type stuff. That all comes around. Though I started in models, at least for me anyway, it informs how I build, car kits now. And I mean, I would argue that a lot of skills that you work on when you're building car kits, directly involve how it is you build regular cars. And I kind of come around full circle, and I actually enjoy building model kits. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I enjoyed building my model kits more than I enjoyed building the full-size cars. So maybe that full-size car stuff was just a phase I went through. But no offense to the full-size car guys, those things are great. We all love going to car shows. We all like it. But people are always touching your cars, It'll bug you when people touch your cars at car shows. So, but anyway, some of the cool stuff that comes my way, like here's one. You recognize the Henry J model kit, and I don't know, Revell thought it would be a good idea, and there's a coupon in that box you could get the Jumpin' J 45 record. And like I say, the internet's great because this stuff sort of makes its way into the hands of of people like us, right? Model car people. So there's this, and then there's the traditional dragsters that came out, like what Gen 1 dragsters that had the engine in front of the driver, and we used to call them rails, right? And then I was down there, at the drag strip, watching those things, Sunday, go to the drag strip, right? And then they gave you this other really interesting, this came from AMT, right? This really interesting, you remember these, we used to get these out of cereal and stuff, but the record is like, can you see that? The record is right, like there. It's there, okay? And to get this thing to spin around, the person who had it, they did the thing that would make sense, or we would have done back in the '60s, is they cut the corners so that it would go around. You put it on the record player, it would spin around. Now, some of you guys out there, you're young enough to you're going, what's a record player? Well, before music on the phones, and before MP3s, and before going back even before that. There was this thing called cassette tapes, and before cassette tapes, there was 8-track tapes, and before that, there was records, and they came in two speeds, and one speed was the smaller ones, and the other speed was the bigger ones. Now, even though this is a smaller record, this is at the speed of the bigger ones, 33 and a third. And the other speed, but they had this round thing you put in the center. You were always searching forever for those things that go in the center. They were called 45s. So it's the size of a 45, but it's a 33 and a third speed. Okay. Otherwise, it sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks if you got it on the wrong speed. So anyway, there's some miscellaneous stuff there, and I don't know. This is just part of my car kit building memorabilia. I don't know. This stuff all kind of. And another thing too, mysteries of the world. Do you ever notice how when you go to a phone conference or a meeting or something, the guy with the leaf blower shows up? You ever notice that? It's like there must be some kind of GPS, phone meeting taking place. You gotta show up there with the leaf blower. And do you ever notice how the power always goes out and it's always 12 o'clock? So it's flashing. And you know what? I just noticed this is Wild Willie Borsch's car, I think, right here. I didn't notice that before. That is Wild Willie Borsch's. That might be. So anyway, there's miscellaneous stuff there. Now, what are some of my other things that I was thinking? Well, my workspace, and I'm going to try to move this around without making you guys seasick, but I got this thing here. You probably kept seeing it. What is that? That's my trash troll. This is where I put those clipped up sticks, the sprue that I reuse for paint stirs or whatever. Then this is like, I think this thing it's a repurposed thing like from fly fishing, but it's just perfect for holding lots of different tools. And cups, it seems like us types are always reusing coffee cups for pens and markers and stuff. And these things are gold too. These are pen vise drills, right? And I got a couple sets of drills, and they come in different sizes. These things are really useful because they have collars and what they call collets to hold the drills, because the drills are different diameters, and you can unscrew it and reverse it. So you got that. And then you can make a lot of your own tools. So this thing over here is just cardboard. And try it, because the more you do this kind of thing, the better you're going to get. And this doohickey, I made like a shelf, graduated shelf with platforms inside to hold my different glues, so that I could just reach up without really having to look and take my eyes off of the work what I'm doing down here. I can just reach up and I can get what I need and bring it back down here. Cutting mats. By now, you guys probably all have one, and if you don't, you're going to want to get one. And I would say get the biggest one you can get that will fit on your desk. Another tool that turns out to be super valuable to me is this thing. It's just called T-bar sanding tool, and the great thing about this is it's perfectly level. Okay, and the sandpaper that goes on it, there's nothing mysterioso about it, but it's self-adhesive sandpaper, so when you're ready to and you don't have to change it that often, because we're just sanding lightly on plastic, but you want to you just stick it on here, right? And this stuff lasts, that piece will last me maybe like a year. Okay, so maybe longer. So this is like a really good tool, and I like it. Let me back up here a little bit, because whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to make you seasick. I can use it like this, right? Or I can do like this, and I can put the piece like this, And it's very important when you're bringing pieces together, especially if you're going to do that capillary action gluing technique that I talked about. I tack weld it with my super glue and a piece of wire. And if I mess up, then I can use super unglue, okay? And then once I'm pretty happy with my positioning, and 99% of the time the first shot gets the job done. But then to come in, because I've sanded the two pieces, they're perfectly flat using that T-bar I just showed you guys. Then I only tacked it maybe two places, make sure I'm happy with the way it is. Then I bring in the ruling pin we talked about. and the slow meld, plastic glue that we know works dynamite, right? The super thin stuff. Okay, so that's how I put stuff together. And you have to always take the paint off. This is mainly geared towards people who don't know and have always wondered, right? I mean, I did. I was that kid who always wondered, how do they go to the hobby shop, look in the case, go, how the heck, where do the seams go? How do they get that? What's all this stuff? And so you want to prepare the pieces by making sure there's no paint. You can't glue painted pieces together. Doesn't work, okay? You got to go plastic to plastic. So you want to get all the paint off, and you want to make sure the surfaces are flat and true. Bring them together, do a slow tack weld, and then do the slow meld weld. If you can get yourself one of those ruling pins, I think that's the way to go. That was because that's what I do. So you can do whatever you want, but that's what I do. Okay, so there's that idea. Now the other thing that is really handy for me is this thing. Okay, I've been doing it a long time, and eyesight's not what it used to be. And I saw a guy one day at the watch repair. He had one of these. And what the heck is that? That's cool. Well, it's a pair of magnifying glasses that you wear. You go, that's kind of weird, Steve. Yeah, but not seeing what you're doing is even weirder, right? So trying to build this close tolerance, close fit stuff, and not really seeing what you're doing is even weirder. So choose. Choose what you want to do, right? Because the result is only as good as the process you follow. So, I have one of these magnifying visors, which is fantastic, right? And so, use these. Some other stuff that I have that is helpful is I got it from I don't know where once upon a time. Let me back up a little bit. Is this kind of thing? Okay, so. I went through a spell where I was doing a lot of fly fishing and stuff. So, bigger stuff goes in here. And smaller stuff goes in here. Like, what kind of small stuff? Like cutting stuff. And like what? Like sanding stuff. Sanding handles and files and stuff. And measuring stuff, okay, and tweezer type stuff. Now, right now, there's nothing in here because all my tweezers are out on deck. But when they're not here, or if I have to go to a show, or I'm going to go travel and I want to take my stuff with me, because I find building models relaxing. So, into this it goes, and all ready to hit the road, right? Easy to carry. And ready to go. Okay, so you got that. And then, I've seen lots of different ways to keep your paints, but in the end, I've tried a few of them, and this is what ends up working best for me, is just keeping them in the boxes. And part of my, I get ready to do a particular model, and I only work on one model at a time. Okay, that's another thing that I just had to do to keep myself from getting overwhelmed and frustrated. I used to get 3, 4, 5 models in pipeline at different stages at the same time, and I found that it just took away the fun. And I say whatever's fun, let whatever's fun be your guide. So in the end, I do one at a time, and whatever's on deck, I kind of work slowly and enjoyably on that particular one. And so my paints go in here when they're all done on a project as part of my post-mortem project closeout. And again, I'm using terms that come from my time in the technology world, but post-mortem, go through my notebook, project closeout, and then everything, gets put away, cleaned up. The deck surface is all, cleaned up, and then I consider what I'm going to do next, and then I go, back to whatever project I'm going to do, and that's just how I enjoy it. That's what brings me enjoyment, is to do it that way. So there's that. Okay, and then what? Yeah, I guess there is one more thing. Let me see if I can swing over here and you guys can see it. All right. Let me bear with me. I'm going to tilt this down. Okay, so in all my time, since going back to way back, in college, studying to be an architect, this little, because I'm right-handed, this little right-handed corner, right here, this little right-handed corner of my work surface, you know, whether it was up in the dorm room or it was out of the, you know, this type of, it's always been this way. It's like my, it's like my whatever I use like every 4 or 5 minutes. It comes from, used, goes back to, okay, this little parking space. And you go, what is this? This is something that's left over. It's an artifact from those drafting days. It's a dusting brush, really handy. Okay, really handy. And this goes back to when people used to draft with pencils and erase and stuff. And I don't know. I think for model building, these are great. You know, get yourself one of these. There's nothing magical about them. You know, you can find them, but they come from that old drafting days. You know, really, really great for kind of keeping your work cleaned and stuff like that. Okay, so this little corner, this little right-hand corner right here, that's sort of my frequently used. That's just a mouse pad underneath, but this little corner here, that has been like part of my like reflexive life forever. Okay, so I don't know how to explain it other than to say that it works. It works. It works. So why change what works? I don't have to hunt all over the place. I don't have to look. I know where stuff is. I can reach over, get it, and bring my hand back. You know, that's what I'm doing. I don't have to even take my eyes off of it. So maybe if it's helpful to you, use it. If it's not helpful to you, then toss. Okay, guys. Enough of miscellaneous stuff and ramblings. You take care and have a great time. Bye.